All right, charismatic and controversial, the former presidential candidate Pat Robertson has written an intriguing book about world trends in politics, economics, and religion. It's titled The New Millennium, 10 Trends That Will Impact You and Your Family by the Year 2000. A most interesting book with some very acute observations. Here he is, Mr. Pat Robertson.
Thank you.
Hey, Cameron, Pat. How are you? Nice to see you.
Hey. Oh, what a
great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Yes,
Too long.
indeed.
What a joy.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm delighted.
And, boy, I loved the book.
Did you?
Yes.
We both were reading it this weekend.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Brings up, brings
really?
up a lot of questions.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But you seem to have some answers.
Well, I hope I do. I was trying to put in perspective. There's so much going on in our world, and people say, what's happening? You know, they got a war possible in the Middle East, and we got the collapse of communism. What does it mean for the families? And so I tried to give some meaning and sense to these various trends I see in the next decade.
Boy, but what a year, Pat, huh? The wall comes down, you think everything's going to be okay, and then suddenly a guy like Saddam Hussein pops up on the world scene and throws everything into chaos again.
The problem we're going to see, though, is that's not going to be the end of it. We're going to have successive shocks to our system over these next years, and people need to know how to handle it.
Well, tell us what Saddam Hussein means.
Well, he thinks of himself as a modern-day Nebuchadnezzar. He's building $1 billion palace where Babylon used to be. So you go back in the Bible, you see Babylon. But the Tigris-Euphrates Valley was the start of all civilization. Everybody came out of Ur of the Chaldees, Sumer in the ancient days. And they went over to the east of China, and they came into Egypt and into Europe. And so he's at the cradle of all civilization. It's a very significant
Babylon back then is Iraq today.
That's right. And before that, it was Assyria, and before that, it was the place where Abraham came from, Ur of the Chaldees.
But you see that this problem between the Arabs and the Jews as one that started in biblical times and will continue until the end of time.
Well, you know, Abraham had two sons. One was Isaac, the son of promise. The other was Ishmael. From Ishmael came the Arabs. From Isaac came the Jews. And that's the ultimate conflict. This anti-Semitic feeling. It's going to... Saddam Hussein is like the preliminary act, you know. I was out to that fight the other day out in, you know, with Holyfield, who was...
Oh, that fight.
That fight. And they had some preliminaries for about 2 hours. Nobody paid any attention. Then when the main event came, everybody focused attention. Well, the main event's going to be Jerusalem, not Babylon.
So, Pat, what is the solution in the Middle East? I mean, it's been going on now for 50 years.
Short of the intervention of the Lord, and I mean this literally, I don't see any solution to those hatreds. I have been operating a television station on the border of Israel now for since 1982, and we have a big audience of Arabs and Jews and of Christians, and they're all together. But this intifada has caused problems that I never thought would happen. I thought they were going to get together, but they're not. I mean, they're deep-seated wounds, and the thing that worries me is that all the nations are going to join together against Israel. That's what the Bible talks about.
That's what Saddam Hussein would like to see happen.
He'd like to see, absolutely.
Isn't he going to make that one of his bargaining chips?
He's going to try to, and I think the Arab nations would like to see it. He could drive a wedge between this coalition if he said, let's go after Israel. And the problem is, will the Russians, the Soviets go for it or not?
If you had won the presidency, what would you be doing now about Saddam Hussein? Would you be attacking?
I would have done it a lot sooner. You know, I'm just talking about war. I was against Vietnam. Vietnam was a terrible, terrible blunder. We should never have gotten into it.
It was the biggest mistake we've made.
Oh, it was horrible.
You said we were allowed to fight in a communist country, but not allowed to win.
Well, we didn't. I was in Korea in the Marines, and it was mighty chilly over there, and good men were dying, but they didn't let us win. They didn't let us win in Vietnam, but we can win in the desert. But were I president, I would have moved about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and struck his installations, the poisonous gas, the potential atomic factories, and that kind of thing.
You would have made a surgical strike like Reagan did against Gaddafi?
Absolutely. I think it should have been done before he dispersed our captives, our hostages among those installations.
Now Congress wants to get this say-so
first. Oh, yeah, it's going to be tough to... but George Bush has got to tell the American people the significance. We can't let that madman have atomic weapons. We can't leave him in place. It's a terrible
You don't hear too much
choice.
about those atomic weapons from our government, do you?
No, but he will have the capability in 3 years.
Pat, we'll go to pause. We'll come right back and talk some more with Pat Robertson in just a minute. Called The New Millennium. Well, Pat, let's talk about some other facts. First of all, are you ever going to run for presidency again?
Not anytime soon. I'm glad George Bush has got the problems, not me, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the families of the world. And one of the biggest, of course, is the decline of the family as a unit.
Yes.
What kind of impact is that going to make in the next 10 years?
It is destroying the structure of our society, and if we don't get families back together again and start coming to a time when husbands love their wives, wives love their husbands, and they look after their kids, in 10 years we're going to be in a chaotic situation in this country. We're already seeing it with the teenage pregnancies. We lead the world in teenage pregnancies. We lead the world in the incidence of venereal disease. We're second in the world to France in alcoholism, and we've got some terrible trends, and our education is going all to pieces. We're 14th now instead of #1. We can fix those things, but it's got to be all the Americans saying, listen, we're going back to fundamental values. We're going back to the principles this country was
How do we lose
founded
those
on.
fundamental values?
Well, it's so easy. You know, when you're very rich, when a country is very prosperous, it's easy to forget the roots when people were struggling. You know, we had a pioneering spirit here a long time ago, and we had a spirit of community and neighborhood. And we've lost a lot of that. We've said, let's let the government do it all. Well, the government's going broke. I mean, seriously broke.
A lot of greed, too. A lot of greed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's evidenced here with a particular developer who I won't beat up anymore. I think you mentioned him already in the show. But the idea of these savings and loan, the looting of those things, these, you know, terrible junk bond, leveraged buyout situations that have despoiled all these holders.
They've raped
it really
the
has
companies.
been.
They've
It's
raped the
so
stockholders.
But these are trends that are not only developed, but are very much in place right now.
There's no question about it. One of the things, too, is the population shrinking. I don't know if you're aware that Western civilization, which is Europe and America, is declining in the share of the world's population from about 30% or 35% in 1950. We will be only 7% of the total population of the world by the year 2050. So we are declining rapidly in influence in the world.
Well,
There's so much more in here that I wish we could discuss. The whole Gorbachev situation.
yes.
And
it's called the New Millennium. You've got a
fascinating.
lot of good ideas in here.
Thank you.
But did you know, of course, that Kathie Lee sang on your show years
don't
ago?
do
in the
this.
She was one of
700 Club?
our favorite performers.
Yeah.
She and her lovely sister.
Yeah, Mishy and Kathie.
Yeah, but we were in the old studio,
Yeah,
the little
old
teeny one of
tiny
Virginia.
Well,
boy.
we have a little clip for both of you. Going to be very interesting. This will go back to 1976, right, Pat?
Yeah, that's when.
Just a few, 16, what, 14 years ago.
Oh, my God.
Yes, this was Kathie Lee, ladies and gentlemen, on Pat Robertson's 700 Club.
That name is spoken, it brings victory. His name has the power to set men free.
It's cute.
It's Jesus, it's Jesus. He's every day the same. Yesterday, today, and
Had a few pounds on it.
Yes, a little chunker there. Little chubby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But you know what? Pat looks the same. You look exactly the
time has
same,
been
and I
so
was like
kind
Miss
to you.
Chipmunk.
Oh,
It's a little
no.
chubby baby then, wasn't
that was
she?
14
Yes.
years
A few extra pounds
Wow,
there.
I
Oh,
say.
my gosh. Well, God loved me then, and he's not finished with me now.
Yes, neither. You were wonderful. I'm so proud of you.
The new
you,
book is
Pat.
called The New Millennium, and Pat, we thank you very much for being here. Good luck to you.
Give my love to everybody.
We'll be back.
It's really wonderful to see